I have 5:30, so I will call this meeting to order and let the record show that we do have a quorum. Some housekeeping. Your cellular devices, if you can't silence them, turn them off. Number 2, consider yourself under oath when speaking to this body. Number 3, if you are going to speak for or against, approach the podium. There's a sign-up sheet. Print your name so it's legible, so it has to be read for the record. We have to know who you are. Then, when you finish that, state your name and address for the record. There's a microphone right there at the podium. And that goes into the record that's being recorded. And in speaking tonight, we're going to allow 3 minutes for, 3 minutes against. And then, after your case has been decided, you may quietly depart the building, or you're welcome to stay and enjoy the fun and festivities. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the October 1, 2024 meeting. Gentlemen?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes as stated.
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Ty, approve. Motion to approve, second by Mr. Lister. All in favor, please raise your hand. And it is unanimous approved. And when we vote tonight, Mr. Hugh, instead of me picking on you, we're going to start here with Mr. Wayne and vote down to you, and then we'll come back and finish up with Mr. Patrick tonight. All right. The first case that we have tonight, case VA 01-11-05-24, a variance request for the relief of the 82-foot required setback from the 360 contour of Lake Murray to be 70 feet from the 360 contour of Lake Murray. The property is located at 1500 Lakewood Drive, Prosperity, South Carolina, tax map number 477-2-49. Ms. Katie.
Yes, sir. So the property owners here tonight are asking for a variance. One thing that's going to look different on my map that I have here versus what you have is there has been a property line change that is not reflected on this. So when you're looking at your plat that's in your packet, that is the correct property. As you're aware, for residential structures built on Lake Murray or Lake Greenwood, when you have a structure to the left and to the right, we take the average of the two houses. The average here for this address comes to the 82 foot. Due to topography and where their septic system that DHEC has approved, they're asking to be 70 foot from the 360 of Lake Murray.
All right. The board have any questions of Ms. Katie?
Just, Ms. Katie, just for clarification, on the Exhibit A in this packet, it's got on there 5 feet from the 7, correct?
70.
Okay.
Go. It does say to be 0.5 feet from 360 contour.
No, it's 70.
70. Okay.
And what's that? Where is that at?
Under Exhibit A. Thank you, Mr. Ty.
Yes, that is a typo.
That's fine.
And it will be fixed.
But it's easier to do it now than
Yes, it is 70 feet.
after a decision is made.
70 feet.
And that reflects what ran in the paper as well, so it's 70 feet, so.
So, and I'm going to ask this question. On Exhibit B, the yellow is correct that we're looking at? That's highlighted?
That is correct. You see that they're adding this piece here.
Okay.
So, yep. This is the correct version.
The yellow highlighted?
Yes.
All right. Any other questions for Ms. Katie? Okay. Anyone here speaking on behalf of this variance request? Okay.
And members, I have handed you handouts from property owner.
Oh, okay, so this is from him, okay. If you'll please sign that paper, print, so it's legible, please. And then state your name and address.
My name is Jack Harby, H-A-R-B as in boy, Y. My address is 605 Parkside Drive in Aiken, South Carolina. The property, as Katie mentioned, is 1500 Lakewood Drive. I wanted to verify with you, I did send out 2 different versions of this, so I'll make sure that you have.
They have the latest.
You do? Okay. So it's got the line of sight?
Yes.
Okay. And you're keeping time, correct, Ms. Gill?
I am.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm long-winded.
Well, no.
I'll try to cut to the chase as best I can. I wasn't sure what the time limits would be. Basically, looking at the lot slopes from the road to the water at a 9-degree angle right from the curb the whole way to the road. It's a little deceiving here. So we definitely have some challenges with the slope. We want to be able to have some space towards the front of the property in order to do sloping, water flows, things like that. My wife and I basically put our life savings into this property. This is intended to be our retirement home. This is the last house I plan to live in. I plan to die in it. So this is our retirement plan. Some things that I want to, you look like you have a question.
Wait a minute, just excuse me, let's both. We're having the audio volume, so we can hear, please.
You talking about raising the volume?
Yes,
For his?
Sorry.
for his.
I've got it raised really high, it's about as high as it will go.
What if he needs to come forward?
Go, come
Yeah,
move the
sure.
whole podium forward,
Podium
maybe.
forward, yeah. He'll probably come
Excuse
forward.
us.
That's all right.
No, no.
Oh, you bring the podium? Lose the mic.
Oh, okay.
There you go. No, I'd go,
Whoa, whoa.
come directly on.
Don't get too far forward.
We need it heard on the recording.
very
and
interactive.
There you go.
in the- Okay,
Okay.
all right, now, thank you.
So I provided you a drawing that I think you've seen. It's a green plot of the property, a pink area that is showing. It was in, you said there was another handout. There was a packet provided. I'm not sure if you have this or not. This is a drawing that I put together and provided to Katie a few weeks ago. This is the plot plan, basically the restrictions for the whole lot.
That's gonna be in your packet.
Yes.
The whole lot line allows us 48% of our property can be built is restricted. We can only build on 52% of it based on these restrictions.
Okay,
I've also shared with you in the packet 2 different home designs that we're looking at. We've looked at probably 15 different designs. All the designs basically have the house stopping at this 82-foot line with a deck going over it. Talking to a few neighbors, they suggested, hey, you may want to look at putting some shade there. So that's why we're trying to have our line brought down so that we can have the roof extended to the 70-foot line so that we can have some shade. Since I don't have a lot of time, I'd like to refer to the packet that you received. I show basically,
Tonight's packet.
okay,
there's a red line, which is the line that Bridget drew last fall, going from the Klauses to the right to the roofs to the left. I did get a sign off from Mr. Roof. I brought it with me. He's fine with everything we're talking about. If you'd like his signature, I do have it. If you look, the red line was the first 82-foot line. And I said, boy, that sure does seem like that's fairly restrictive. Let's look around a little bit. So I went to the next 2 houses and drew the same type of line, and I come up with, that one's closer to 60 feet. So I know what my boss would tell me to do, go get more data. So I used the satellite system off of the county site, and I looked at the neighboring 37 homes, and I used a little measurement device where I could see a roof. I measured from the roof to the water line on the neighboring 37 houses. 81% of those houses in this neighborhood are below the line that we're requesting. The yellow dots I show, either I can't see a roof or possibly it's an empty lot. But 81% of the neighboring lots are following what I'm requesting to do. So I don't think I'm asking for anything that's unjust. Next, I know we'll have some folks, I do see some neighbors that have expressed concerns about, line of sight was something I was concerned about. And talking with the one neighbor, it really wasn't a line of sight issue. This is this particular layout.
Okay?
What I did, I left the same two lines in. I highlighted the property lines. I sketched in basically what the house would look like, and then the deck that we're asking for with the roof on it. The green area is the line of sight. If you look towards the roof's property, that's a highly vegetated, very tall trees. Everybody's line of sight stops at those trees. There is a question about privacy. If you look, this deck is not significantly past the neighboring house.
Right.
And I might suggest we wouldn't be looking in our neighbors' windows anyhow, for sure. And, we're all going to have to be neighbors. Every time you build, it is a stressful situation where you're gating a house up against
Right.
you that wasn't there and so forth. So, again, our life savings is in this thing. We're trying to build our retirement house. We're asking for a distance of 12 feet, which is about the distance from Mr. Wilkes
Yes.
to Mr. Boland.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does this board have any questions of Mr.
Harvey.
Harvey?
In Exhibit E, I think you mentioned something about having to punch a well.
Correct.
Do you not have county water at that?
There's no water up there. No, there's no water on this street. So where my location for a well is, Mr. Roof to the left, he has a septic in his front yard. So I have to be 75 feet away from that, 75 feet up from our septic. It basically leaves me a small corner in the from the center line of our property over to the right side of the property, and there's a power line coming down. So I've lost about 10 feet that I can't put it in because of the power lines. I've got a little small corner up there on the right-hand side of the property left for a well.
And for my satisfaction, you say front yard, you're talking about roadside?
I switch back and forth all the
No, I
time.
understand
Generally,
that
when I was saying front, I meant roadside.
Okay, that's what I want to
Sorry
make sure.
about that,
That's
yeah.
what we consider it,
Yeah.
this body.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
we say front,
So for clarity, when I said I went through with the GPS system and measured the
Yeah, that's
distances,
right.
those 37 homes I looked at, 81% of them were closer to the water than
okay,
what I was asking.
that's backyard. Thank you so much. All right. Is there anyone here speaking against this variance? Print the form legibly, please, then state your name and address for the record.
So Carrie Klaus, and I'm at 1526 Lakewood Drive, so I'm the house to the right.
Which tax map number is it?
To the right, what are you?
1520, the 477
2-50.
250, yeah.
50, okay.
Yep,
Okay.
good to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I can relate to everything that Jack just said about putting all of your life savings into a house, because we just did that last January when we purchased this house. We moved up from Savannah, we're retiring here, we are planning to live here the rest of our lives. As I think Katie mentioned, the variance with the highlighted piece was a piece of land that after we closed, we had to sell off a portion of that to the Dawkins, who was the owner of our house as well as that lot, in order for the Harbys to close, because of the way the septics and the wells all had to be distanced from each other. So in doing so, we lost already part of our lot, plus part of the waterfront, which I consider significant. When we purchased the house, we looked into the zoning. I wanted to understand what would someone be able to build there. We understood, eventually someone would build there. Zoning rules are in place for a reason. I appreciate all the data, but the reality is the rule is the rule. And we took that into account when we were building. I do have concerns about line of sight, about privacy. I know Jack has submitted two house renderings. We've seen those as well after I requested them, and they finally came through. But there has been lots of conversation around, we're not sure which one we're going to move forward with. This might shift, this might shift. So for us to come to agreement and say, yes, we're okay with giving you this additional 12 feet without really knowing even what's going to be built, the height that it's going to go to, made us uncomfortable. So, that's our stance on it. I just, again, the zoning is in place for a reason. The privacy, again, I don't think that they're going to be standing there purposely looking into our windows, but our house is all glass on the front, both top and bottom, and we are concerned about losing some of that. So and compared to if they built at that 82 line, we would still kind of have that site that we have today. So I'll.
Okay. I have a question I should ask Mr. Harvey.
Sure.
Is there HOA in this neighborhood?
There's not.
No
Okay,
HOA.
all right. Look.
Any other questions? I know, so just to clarify, the 3 minutes, is that per person or
That is
per?
correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure because there might be some other people that want to
No.
speak.
You have 3 minutes.
Okay, I think that's it. Any questions?
No, that was my only, I should have asked you to start with, because that makes a difference, because if there's HOA,
Yeah.
if we make a decision, your HOA can just blow it away.
Agreed. Yep.
So it would be,
No, there is covenants on the properties.
okay,
They're different than zoning.
right. Any questions?
Have you seen the handout that
Nope.
was passed out?
No, I've seen he had sent the renderings that were emailed, but I don't think I've seen the full.
Here's 2 extra we have.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just did this on Friday, so if anybody would like a copy, I've got a copy.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, so I don't know if this is the same as what we've viewed. I didn't know that this was even moving forward until we saw the sign in the road on the 26th, so a week or so ago, and so I called Jack and said, and to his defense, he had been trying to talk to us. My husband is going through chemo right now, and so we've been in and out of the hospital in Charleston, so we haven't been able to connect, but he knew we were not on board and ready to move forward, so we were a bit surprised to see this kind of moving forward without having some type of discussion around it.
Well, my specific question is, I understand one of your concerns is the line of sight on the lake. Have you, in looking at the handout, do you see where he has his line of sight indicated in green? And if so, do you feel like that's a fair representation?
It's hard to say having 2 minutes to look at it. I don't know. I want to see what the house is actually going to be, the height of the house. The other big concern I have is if we approve the 70 feet and they're saying it's for the roof to be over the deck, if they get the variance to move 70 feet, could they use that 70 feet and actually extend the full house build to that? Versus, where is that specified that it's only, the roof covering the deck, versus could they build to that 70 line and then extend a deck even further?
I'll let Ms. Katie address
Something
that.
could be in the way. I won't be able to.
So the board can put conditions on it, as far as for our zoning permitting, 70 foot would be 70 foot, so they could extend, any roof line.
Exactly.
But steps are not within that 70 foot because they do not have cover, so it's only anything that would have a cover is what we look at. So steps, an open deck that has no covering, all of that could go closer.
Beyond the 70 to closer to the lake.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think that
Yeah.
probably applies to the pool. That's why the pool's.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not
Right,
considered,
right.
your pool's not considered.
Right.
Correct. Yep.
Right. Any other
Any other
questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else speaking in favor of this variance? All right. Is there anyone speaking against this variance request?
Mike Johnson, 1080 Lakewood Drive, Prosperity.
Mike Johnson?
Yes, sir. So I don't know you from Adam. I'm just speaking from what I know. When a person buys a piece of land on the lake or anywhere in Newberry County, there's already variances that are set there for a reason. If you buy that piece of property, you should not buy that piece of property until you know that variance can get approved, because then you're going to run into this situation. Those 81 properties that have been approved to be whatever feet they are from the lake, that could have been 20 years ago. That could have been 30 years ago. Variations change. They are put in place for a reason. And I sat here, this is the third time I've been in front of this board, and I've seen every one get approved. And it's time we stop that, because if we don't do it, everybody's going to do exactly what they want to do. There's no need in coming to this meeting. You just sign off the piece of paper and let them do what they want to do. So what I'm saying is, if he does that, which I don't care if he does, because it's not going to block my line of sight. But if he builds it like that and he puts the roof over there, then later on he says, hey, I want a porch. And then I want to do the lower porch. Well, they're going to have umbrellas, grills, parties and everything going on, blocking her line of sight, not to the lake, but up and down the lake. That's why you have this offset of the buildings on the lake, so you can have a good view. So no, I don't agree with you giving the variance. Not at all, not one bit. Questions?
I have no question.
Did you say you do not have a property adjacent to this?
No, I don't.
So
The problem I have is, we give so many variances out, what are we doing here? You should just sign off on this piece of paper and let him go back home.
But where's your property on the lake?
1080 Lakewood Drive,
Lakewood.
1080 Lakewood.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we have turned down many of
Oh, yes.
variances on the lake. We don't approve, stand approve them all.
Well,
And
I hadn't seen that yet, that's why I made that statement.
Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience,
Yeah.
not from what
Well,
you've
I'm
done.
just speaking from being here on the board.
Okay, well, I'm
And as
speaking
the
from
chairman,
experience.
Please see your county councilman, and they would be glad to appoint you to sit on this board.
I would love to if Mr. Bowling wants to give up his spot.
You're in my district?
Yeah.
He may want to retire one
I
day.
don't think you are anymore, actually.
Yeah, I just looked it up.
I was rezoned into District 3.
Are you? Who's in District 2 now?
District 2, that's me.
I know, yeah.
Leon, no, I'm District 4.
I don't know. We'll figure that out later.
Yeah,
They
there you go.
redrew the lines and.
That's
Okay,
right.
because I looked it up on the internet, this must have been out of date, because I said, hey, man, I'm
Probably
going to call the county
I'm
council.
Nick Shealy, that's my council person. But anyway,
Are
thank
you
you for
zone
your
2?
concerns.
Are you zone 2? No, you
Nick
said you're
Shealy.
zone 4,
I don't know
right?
what's on, that's the move.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
I nominate Mike Johnson for zone 2.
All right,
Thanks, Mike.
all right. Would you, is there, that you've had a statement, would you like a rebuttal, Tarver? Would you like 3 minutes rebuttal?
I don't think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I think, one thing that I will add is that.
Please do it up here first.
There was some concern about whether we could or would build further. I showed you in the one diagram, there is a existing septic system down there. And in some of the drawing notes, I did note, we're not going to do anything to violate how close we can build to the septic system per DHEC. This basically takes us up to about the line of how far we can go. So I can't put a porch in addition to this further out because it's sitting right on top of the septic system. I physically just can't go any further. So,
All right.
So that concern of us continuing to evolve our way down, I don't think is a real concern.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, does this board have any more questions?
I do have another question. One of the concerns that's been talked about is a roof line.
Sure.
Are you talking with the house plans that you've looked at so far? Are you looking at something that's got a 25, 30-foot high roof, or?
Basically, because of the slope of the ground, I mentioned earlier, it's a 9-degree angle. You pretty much have to have a walkout basement, or you're going to have a huge amount of fill. So we'll have a ground level submerged basement, and then we'll have a single floor on top of that. We are considering having a cathedral ceiling in there, so we may have a high center peak. But then what I'm trying to do on the left and right side of the house, as I've shown it, is have a horizontal roof coming out over the deck. So basically, if the way the sun goes, if we were standing on our future back porch, sun's coming up over here, coming right over till it drops behind Mr. Roof's trees. You got sun all day long. And we met a neighbor that's about 6 houses down. He said, my advice to you is, he said, if I was building my house any different, I'd put a roof so you can have some shade. I don't have one single tree on our property. Speaking of trees, I do appreciate, Carrie's position. We differ in opinion somewhat, but I do believe, as far as privacy, I'm okay with putting up some spruce trees on the property line or something like that if we're concerned about privacy or anything like that. But I don't think, if you look at the angle that our house would be from the back of their house, I think we'd be trying to, hit a window at about a 20-degree angle. You can't see in there. Any of the houses that are on the back of, or on the lake, if you don't have curtains, somebody can be on your, just fishing right off the end of your dock. You're kind of on display there.
That's right. Okay. Any more questions? You satisfied?
Can I add something, I need to come up there?
So you would like a rebuttal to his, you have 3 minutes, please.
It's a quick rebuttal, or
That's
maybe
fine, that's fine.
a clarification, but so in the house renderings that we had, it was the basement level, the main level, and then a loft area as well.
Again, if we have a peak roof, we want to have a loft towards the
back.
road, like the road side. Yeah.
Okay, but not in the front side?
Correct, not on the water side. No, we want that for our view to look out, similar to yours, so you have a little bit of a peak, so you're looking out over the water with your peak. But the loft would be towards the road side, if we put a loft in.
Okay.
Yeah, no desire to have something up that high.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification,
Yes.
Ms. Katie, on all of this, so this wouldn't even have came to us if he didn't want to put that roof on top of that deck?
Correct.
It would have just went right on through?
Correct. Yeah.
Regardless what he was building, what the house looked like and all that, sir?
Correct,
Right,
yeah.
'cause that's,
We're, distance
yeah, it's just because of the roof and all that, so I get that, okay.
All right. If I close the deliberations, and now we need to result to our, okay, are you speaking for or against?
Again.
You, okay, you didn't say.
Need to reopen?
But
you gotta reopen.
we have to reopen this. That's why when I called this, when I asked.
Want to reopen it? Move to reopen the deliberation, Mr. Chairman.
No, second.
We have a second. All in favor, raise your hand. It is unanimous to reopen the case. Now,
Well, I apologize if I screwed up, I'm sorry.
all right, go ahead.
Already put my
Your
name
name?
down. Stephen Hips.
Stephen Hill.
I got an S on the end of mine,
Wait a minute.
I'm a civilized man.
Hips with an S.
Yes, sir.
And your address?
1608 Lakewood Drive.
Lakewood Drive. So you're not a neighbor?
Yeah, I am a neighbor. I'm not a neighbor, I'm around the curve.
Okay.
The property does not affect me at all.
All right. Yes, sir.
All right, I'm probably one of the last poor southern rednecks that's down there on the water right now. And so anyway, I know that she's going through a lot of trouble with her husband, especially with what's going on with that. And anybody that buys property on the lake, just like me, the view is where the money's at. I mean, people, that's what all this money people's bringing out here is to buy that view. And to have your view obstructed means it's going to kill your resale value. It just will. And the only thing I'm saying is, if you stay within the rules everything's fine. But when you start bumping down, stuff like that, it's just, you know, everybody's just gonna be doing the same thing, and that's fine if that's the way it rules, but I don't think it's right. You know, I've been there for about 20-some years, and like I said, that was back when a poor redneck could buy a place on the water.
That's right.
But the money that's going in down there now is crazy, you know? And if she ends up having to resell her property, I'm worried that it'll kill her resale, because John David made a pretty good amount of money off of it, you know? And I know y'all are familiar with him. So that's all I got to say about it.
All right.
All right? I appreciate you listening, gentlemen.
Any questions of Mr. Hips?
Come on.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Now, is there anybody else that wants to speak for or against? Speak now, or forever hold your peace. It is closed. Deliberations are closed officially. Thank you. We were going to go refer to our friends 153.052, C1 through 5. Number 1, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property. Mr. Boland?
Concur.
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 Concur. Concur.
And last?
Concur on that, Mr. Chairman.
Number 2, these conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity or in that district. Mr. Boland?
Concur.
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 And
Concur on that.
number 3, because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to a particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict use of property. Mr. Boland?
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Concur.
Concur on that, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Number 4, the authorization of the variance will not be a substantial detriment to the adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Ty?
Mr. Chairman, based on other residents in the area, I'm going to disagree with that.
Okay, Mr. Ty? Okay, Mr. Patrick?
I agree with the statement, concur.
And Mr. Hugh?
I disagree.
Okay,
I would disagree on that, Mr. Chairman, too.
okay. And number 5, the effect of the variance would not allow the establishment of a use not otherwise permitted in the zoning district, would not extend physically a non-conforming use of the land, would not change the zoning district boundaries shown on the official zoning map. Mr. Boland?
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur.
Concur.
Concur on that.
All right, gentlemen, number 4, it was defeated. That was negative 2-4. So I now would entertain a motion. We do not meet all findings of facts.
So
It has to be.
it doesn't pass, but so
No,
we just need to make a motion
To deny.
to
Deny.
deny.
That is correct.
Okay. Make a motion to deny then.
All right, Mr. Patrick. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And Mr. Patrick, second. All right, I think we'll have to have a vote for the records to deny. Start with you, Mr. Bowman.
Vote to deny.
Vote denied, deny.
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 It is unanimous. Sorry, it is denied. And now, we go to case number VA 02-11-05-24, a variance request for the relief of the required 25-foot road right-of-way setback of Landing Road to be 5 foot from the road right-of-way for a new house. The property is located at 568 Marina Way, Prosperity, South Carolina, tax map number 592-2-49. Ms. Katie.
Board, I'm going to ask that we have discussions on case B and C as they're for the same property, but again, we will vote separately.
So we'll have one
Discussion,
and then we'll vote separate.
yes, because the variance for B and C are asking for the exact same footage. As you see, the property is located between Landing Road and Marina Way. So again, for discussion purposes, we're going to talk about it in one. Currently, there is an RV on the property. If the residents decide to, or the variance is approved and they decide to build, they're looking at a very small site-built or modular home, depending what they decide. But they're asking to be 5 foot from Landing Road and Marina Way right-of-way. The camper will be moved once the structure has been built.
I know this is just a hypothetical line, but how close is this line that's going that orangish color, like on 592-50 and 52-1?
I think that's pretty close to the right of way.
Okay, I'm just supposed to,
Yes.
where these people are
Yes,
parking.
that's
Okay.
correct.
All right. And then it'll be the same on Marina Way as well.
Correct, 5 from Landing and 5 from Marina Way.
And this dwelling, is that a dwelling?
Yes,
Okay.
Crossed it.
yes, and that was probably built prior to.
I
Yep.
know, I know.
Yep.
I understand. And then, I can't remember what this is, but this is, what is this? A
That's an
field?
easement.
Easement through here, all right. Board have any questions for Ms. Katie? Any further questions?
Are either of these roads one lane, or are they both two lanes?
They're both double lane.
They're both
They're
two
both,
lanes. Okay.
No questions? No further questions? Is there anyone here speaking in favor or for this variance request, these variance requests? Come up and print your name on the form, and then you'll state it and give us your address for the record.
William Hyatt, and I live at 901 Swigert Road, Blythewood.
Blythewood?
Blythewood.
Oh, okay, that's where,
Yeah.
okay. All right,
So we live in Blythewood, and we bought this lot. It was a jungle when we bought it.
Yes.
You couldn't see from one side to the other. Took me a year, my wife and I, to clear it. We put a little camper on it for right now. Eventually, we plan on moving from Blythewood, if we can get the variance approved, to build us a, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 square foot house on the property. We live in a big house in Blythewood, and we just want to downsize, move to the lake, and retire. That's basically it. I just came up here to see how this was going along. Never have been up here before.
understand.
That's it. Thank you.
Well, wait a minute. Does this board have any questions? Of Mr. Hyde? Okay. Thank you, sir.
I have one other
Oh,
question.
oh.
What's the other variance y'all were asking about besides mine? Was there another one?
Oh, you're asking for a road variance on both?
Both sides, yes.
Yeah, we have to separate them.
I got you.
We have to, we can hear them together, but
Right.
we have to vote separate.
I got you. Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
It's two roads.
Yes, it's two roads. Let's-
Right, I get it.
This is near Nacho Margarita. That's what-
Nacho's at the end of the road.
Right, okay. Now,
And Martin's Marina, if they ever get open.
yes, that's correct. Yeah. All right, is there anyone here to speak against this variance request? Katie, have you had any mail in to dispute this variance request? I know sometimes you reach out to the county if there's any, I mean, I don't know where they could go with the roads.
We didn't reach out.
But I don't know where they could go with what's there, the existing structure.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, one quick question for
Yes,
Mr. Hyde.
please.
So, do you know what the actual width and the depth of that lot is? I mean, it's not very big, is it?
No, it's 50 by 75.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
They're actually, all the lots through there are like.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, it's really small.
Really what I was asking for is no more than the house next door to me is closer to the road than what I'm allowed right now, and the houses 3 down from me, from the other side, are basically the same.
All right.
Closer to the road.
That's right.
So I really wasn't asking for anything that isn't already there.
Okay.
Any questions, any other questions this board have? Anybody need to speak in for or against this variance request? I call the deliberations closed. All right, now, we will be working on 02-1105-24 first.
So Landing Road.
Landing Road. We'll be deciding on 153052, 1 through 5. Number 1, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property. Mr. Boland.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
And Doug agrees.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur.
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 Number 2, these conditions do not generally apply to the other property in the vicinity or in that district. Mr. Boland.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
And Doug does.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Agree.
Concur.
I concur.
Number 3, because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to a particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict use of the property. Mr. Boland?
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Doug, yes.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Agree.
Agree.
Agree on that.
Number 4, the authorization of the variance will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Mr. Boland?
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Doug concurs.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur.
Concur on that.
Number 5, the effect of the variance would not allow the establishment of a use not otherwise permitted in the zoning district, would not extend physically a non-conforming use of the land, would not change the zoning district boundaries shown on the official zoning map. Mr. Boland?
Concur.
Doug, yes.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yes.
Concur.
All right, gentlemen, on, yes. Now, wait a minute, yeah, this Landing Road is what we're considering first. I need a motion.
Motion to accept, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Boland, motion to accept.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Ty, seconds.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
How do you vote, Mr. Boland?
Vote to approve as requested.
And I approve?
Approve.
Approve.
And I approve.
It is unanimous to approve this variance request. Now, I need to read them all again.
Yeah,
For Marina.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
You could go down and ask if they approve 1 through 5 since you just read them.
All right. Well, would this body mind if I did that?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Mr. Boland,
Concur, Mr. Chairman, on that.
on number 1, Doug, number 1, yes. Mr. Ty, number 1.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur.
Concur.
Concur on number 1.
Number 2, Mr. Bowler.
Concur on number 2, Mr. Chairman.
Doug, yes.
Concur.
Agree?
Agree on number 2.
Number 3, Mr. Bowler.
Agree.
Agree. Mr. Ty.
Agree.
Yes.
Agree?
Agree on it.
Number 4, Mr. Bowler.
Concur.
And Doug, concur. Mr. Ty, number 4.
Agree.
Agree?
Agree on it.
Number 5, Mr. Bowler.
Agree.
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 Mr. Patrick.
Yes.
Agree?
Yes, on it. Agree.
All right, it is unanimous. I need a motion.
Move the variance be granted.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lister makes the motion. Mr. Wilks seconds. Mr. Bowler, how you vote?
Agree to approve the...
I agree.
Agree.
Mr. Patrick, how you vote? Agree.
Agree?
And I agree on it.
Agree. It is unanimous to approve the variance request. That satisfies approved. Now, we go to case number, you still need to, they know to go to 30 days, please stay in touch with her.
Just, we'll talk.
And you're welcome to leave quietly. Thank you. Case number VA 04-11-05-24. A variance request for the relief of the 7-foot required side property setback to be 3.5 feet from the side property line for an addition to an existing residential structure. The property is located at 216 Cove View Road, Prosperity, South Carolina, tax map number 591-1-1-45. Ms. Katie.
So the applicants, the Lewises, came before you all a couple months ago for a variance to be 5.5 feet from the side property line setback. That was granted. The framer put up the batter boards for the foundation, and during our inspection, it was found that they were at 3.5 feet instead of the 5.5 feet. We stopped them, and they have now framed it to be 5.5 feet, but they still wanted to come before you all to see if they could get the 3.5 feet, and if it is approved, then they will tear down what's been framed currently and go to the 3.5 feet.
So we have,
Y'all have visited this back in August. So just to put on the record, the structure that has been built here in the last couple weeks is to the 5.5 feet. It is not to the 3.5. But
it is to the variance.
it is
that we
to the
approved.
variance that is approved, but they have asked to go to the drone plans, which is the 3.5 feet, but we are not allowing that at this point. It's to the 5.5.
All right. Does this body have any questions, Ms. Katie? All right. Thank you. Is there anyone here speaking in favor or for this variance request? Is there anyone here speaking against this variance request? All right.
Got some takers.
Have some takers. All right. Print, please, so it's legible. And Miss Katie, will you hand out those so he does, please?
Yeah, you can go ahead and start speaking.
Here's one for you too.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joe Steets, and I live at 224 Cove View Road, which is next door to this property. Looking at that, I am on the left side of that property. There's a number of concerns. Again, when this was brought to you a couple of months ago, I brought you pictures and showed you that they were, I mean, this is a little community with 40-foot lots, and they were built as little 2-bedroom weekend cottages, okay? Now, this guy is getting, like, he's got 4,000 square feet under roof.
All right, please keep it to the boundaries that we're discussing.
Okay, well, my concern is that if they move that over, I mean, they're not controlling any rainwater, any yard water, anything on their property. They're just shedding it out the sides of it. And when you look at the second picture there, you see that little red arrow, that shows where the property line is. On the second picture, that little red arrow, there's a yellow string there. And so that land there is my land, but again, you can see on the third picture, it shows the terrain rolling away from their house. That's dumping all that water up against the foundation of my house. All that water coming off the roof. If you look at the fifth picture, it shows you the massiveness of that roof. Actually, the fourth picture, the size of that roof. And they're going from a little 900 square foot 2-bedroom cottage 100 feet up from the lake into a 4,000 square foot 2-story 4-bedroom property. They reference it now that it's not 4 bedrooms because they erased the name on the 1-bedroom and erased the name on the other bedroom and says it's a 2-bedroom house now. But if you look at it, it even says on the last page there, bedroom 2, bedroom 3, so they didn't even correct all that. They're just building this massive structure on the property next door to me, and it's just going to destroy my house.
All right.
And I'm concerned about gutters, but there's no requirement in the building permits about gutters. When they build parking lots and buildings nowadays, they have these catch basins and they have these other things because they're building all this over the ground, and there's nowhere for the rainwater to go except to shed around it. And on the other side of this house, there's a little 400 square foot cottage that thing's gonna just get swamped now too. And again, the property line, I mean, it's, if you look at that roof line, the water flying down off of that roof is gonna shed right into my yard and actually probably be splashing up against the side of my house. I mean, for them to take up more land and have less water control is going to be devastating to my property. And again, a lot of this stuff, I still haven't even seen a building permit for the front and back structures that are on this. There was a building permit to remodel the house, but there's no building permit in the front and there's no building permit for the back. They're supposed to be posted on site, and there's no building permits there. So this guy's been fooling around with the blueprints and everything, taking advantage of the system.
Thank you very much. Does this board have any questions?
Yes, I do. What we see here, that's what's on the property now?
That's what they went ahead and built.
This is new construction?
Yes. No, there's a middle, if you look at the last page, you can see there's a front section, a middle section, which is the original cinder block house, and then the addition towards the lake. So, I mean, they've just turned this, like I said, barely a 900 square foot house into 4,000.
Well, the applicant's obviously not here, but they're willing to demolish that to gain a couple more feet over towards your property line? I mean, I'd like to ask the applicant that.
I have no idea what they're thinking.
All right.
Okay. You've said a couple of times it's 4,000 square feet, but looking at the square footage on that last page, it's less than 1,800.
Well, no, it's 70 by 30. If you add up the numbers there.
70 by 30 is 2,100.
Right. And then there's a staircase in the rear section of the house, a full staircase going up to a full second floor. And if you look at
We're not here to decide, it could be 15 stories high, we're here to decide the footage.
Right. Okay, well, they're just destroying the property line. They're gonna shed everything into my yard and the other neighbor's yard.
Thank you. Your time's up.
Any other questions?
I have done. Is there anyone here speaking in favor of this variance request? All right, is there anyone here speaking against this variance request? Please come forward, print your name on the...
Do you have handouts?
Yes, ma'am.
Please give Miss Katie.
And I'm going to show a drawing, and I'll give that to you when I'm done.
I need one of these back before you leave.
Okay, all right.
That is just one?
Yeah, he only gave me.
I only had two, I'm sorry.
All right.
And I have,
Your name?
my name is Eric Ebersole. I live at 245 Cherry Circle, which is in the Grant Williams subdivision. I've been there, my wife and I have owned property there.
Grant Williams subdivision. Is that where this is?
Yes, sir. That is off of Bethel Church Road as you enter that subdivision. It's one way in and one way out. You come in on Grant. This said property is on Cove View, which is a part of the Grant Williams Estates, of which I live right around the corner.
You're not a property owner.
I am a
Not
property.
contiguous to the property.
Okay.
Are you able to see your
No.
tax map on that
No.
one there?
Okay.
No.
I will leave this with you after I explain it to show you, this is the entire subdivision with reds. I'll explain that in just a minute. And I live right around the corner. So my name's Eric Ebersole. I've lived in this subdivision for 25 years. I've been affectionately known as the mayor of Grant Williams. So I'm very knowledgeable about the subdivision, been very active in this subdivision. I totally disagree with any variances given to this property owner. If you take a look at, South Carolina DHEC's mission for our state, safeguard our air, land, water, and context, or coast for the generations to come. In your packet, there are 19 properties of concern in Grant Williams that do not have proper sewer issues. I'll explain that further. There are issues of stormwater runoff going into Lake Murray from Grant Williams Estates. This property in question absolutely is going to contribute to it. If you take a look at his drawing, it is 1,702 square feet on the bottom level. He does not show the second level, of which, when you consider all the roof line, 4,000 plus square feet of roof line is going to be a significant water load to the adjacent properties there. The original property was only 900 square feet, a little block house built in the 70s. That's when Dr. Grant and Dr. Williams developed that subdivision in the early 70s. Every lot in there was either 50 feet, single lots, 100-foot double lots, etc. And this is a color drawing, the original block house is at the end, and all this roof line going up, 12 pitch, something's definitely going in the top there. This gentleman absolutely, as Joe stated, if you could look at his original drawing, there is notes on there for bedroom 2 and bedroom 3. Gentlemen, this ain't our first rodeo together. The moment the building inspector walks away, the plumbers walk in, and he's going to build all those bedrooms and bathrooms in this thing, and it's going to put a significant load on the sewer. I'm going to come back to the sewer. In the Grant Williams subdivision, we have city water, but no city sewer, so everything's septic, and there's significant issues with Grant Williams subdivision. If you take a look at this map that I drew, this is a combination of all the lots in Grant Williams. All the reds are lots that have been perked, failed, and been given a approval letter from South Carolina DHEC for an engineered system. I'll show you some data that the engineered systems are failing in that subdivision. Unacceptable. Stormwater runoff is going to Lake Murray, gentlemen. For Mr. Lewis, he has not improved his septic system. That septic system was there from 1970s. He put in a new tank but did nothing to the drain field. On 591-1-3, in the corner up here, there's a tax sale property that went up for tax sale last year. Gentleman put in a engineered system. He's excavated it twice now. 2 times he's been into it. Mr. Lewis has a conventional system. It's not been improved. Absolutely, it won't be able to handle that lot. Could I take just a few more minutes?
No, sir.
Okay. Can I take minutes of a friend of mine?
No, sir.
Okay. You have a significant sewer issue here.
We're here looking at,
All right, my name's Eric
Property.
Ebersol. I'm the mayor of Grant Williams. You will see me again. Thank you very much.
thank you. All right, is there any questions of the mayor of Grant Williams? Any questions? All right. Is there anyone here speaking on behalf or in favor of this variance request? Miss Katie's gonna need that.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be
I'll
nice.
get it,
Look
I'll
at
grab it after the meeting.
No, it's taken.
All right, is there anyone else to speak against this variance request? Anyone else? Y'all have both had opportunities.
This closes.
I have a question. I don't know who to direct it to since the property owner's not here, but has he made any kind of offer or concession to try to control the water coming off his roof?
I can't answer that.
Well, I don't think anybody can. Pardon?
I mean, he's a nasty guy. I mean, I've been threatened by him and everything else, just standing in my yard.
All right. So,
And I addressed it with the building department about gutters, and they said, we have no requirements or whatever on gutters. There's a problem after the fact, and we'll address it.
all right, does this board have any other questions?
Yeah, but I don't know who to ask.
The deliberations are closed. Now, we are here, this is Lewis, VA 03080624. And this is the one we've already granted him for what he's built out. Correct?
Correct.
Back in Sep, it's the 6th month, right? When do we?
Yeah,
meet?
let's. October, we did this in August.
August.
Okay.
And we bring some
You granted 7 foot.
7
Okay.
foot.
We granted 5.5.
5.5. Yes.
All right, now, the board knows where we're at. We're looking at 153052. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property. Number one, and Mr. Bowman.
I concur on that one.
Well, I do concur.
I concur.
I concur as well.
I concur on that one.
These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity or in that district.
I concur.
I concur as well.
Concur.
Concur on that one.
Because of these conditions, application of the ordinance to a particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict use of the property. Mr. Bowling?
Yeah, I concur on
I concur as well.
Mr. Patrick?
Concur.
Concur.
Concur on that one.
The authorization of the variance will not be a substantial detriment to the adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Mr. Bowling?
Cannot concur, Mr. Chairman. I believe it would be a substantial.
I cannot concur.
I cannot concur either.
No.
I do not concur.
I cannot concur on that either, Mr. Chairman.
Number 5, the effect of the variance would not allow the establishment of a use not otherwise permitted in the zoning district, would not extend physically a non-conforming use of the land, would not change the zoning district boundaries shown on the official zoning map. Mr. Bowling?
I'm going to have to say no on that, too. Cannot concur, Mr. Chairman.
Doug, no. Mr. Todd?
I cannot concur on that either.
Mr. Patrick?
I agree.
I would agree with that.
All right.
I concur on that then.
All right. Number 4, it strikes it. So there is not a unanimous finding of fact, but I still need a motion essentially denying.
Make a motion to deny, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have multiple seconds. And now I need your vote, Mr. Bowman, to deny.
Vote to deny, Mr. Chairman.
Deny.
Vote to deny.
Deny.
Vote to
Deny.
deny.
Deny it.
It is unanimous to deny this request. All right? Now, what of this do you need, Miss Katie?
That.
The big one?
The big one.
I got that. Thank you.
All right.
I'm good.
All right. Denied.
Do you
Now-
have my sign-in sheet?
Charging. We will be looking at case number VA 05-11-05-24. A variance request for the relief of the required 50-foot road right-of-way setback of Industrial Park Road to be 10 foot from the road right-of-way to cover, should this be an existing concrete pad? Not A and D?
Yes, Ann.
Okay, and existing concrete pad. The property is located at 71 Industrial Park Road, Newberry, South Carolina, tax map number 294-3-1.
If you see on the zoning map, the concrete pad that we're speaking about is exactly kind of under where it says 294-19. That's the concrete pad. Everybody see where I'm at? So, the tenants, which is Train, Bob Shirey is the owner and he has agreed, he signed off on the papers, but Train wants to put a cover over that current concrete pad for extra, get some of their stuff out of the weather. So they're asking to be 10 foot from the Industrial Park Road right-of-way. They are not extending the current pad, they're physically just covering it.
Is it going to be an open cover?
Yes, open.
All right, should this variance be granted, we'll need to state that it's for an open cover, so they don't just go in and close it, correct?
You can.
We can, but I mean, I just want that. All right, number 2, is this a private road or a county road or?
It's a state road.
It's a state road.
This was West property, wasn't it, in this case?
Misty is going to be over the project if they move forward, but yes, Mr. Shirey, Mr. Bob Shirey owns the property currently.
It's the train
Train.
place there, used to be Arctic Chill or whatever it was.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay.
Variance place.
You've got the pallet across the road from Train, from Industrial Park, where you see all the.
The 29418?
18's the
Yeah,
pallet.
it's a solar panel place.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
I'm glad you told me where it was at. When I came by, I thought it was right up in that far corner right there. We made a turn there at the radius. There where the sign, you know where the sign
Where
was
you put
located.
the sign.
Yeah, where the sign was put. Thank you, ma'am.
Any questions? No?
Nope.
For the record, I'll ask, is anyone here speaking on behalf of this variance request? Seeing no one, anyone speaking against this variance request? Seeing no one, the deliberations are closed. We will look at 153.052. Number 1, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property. Mr. Bowling? Concur.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur.
Concur?
Concur on that, Chairman.
Number 2, these conditions do not generally apply to the other property in the vicinity or in that district. Mr. Bowling?
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
I concur.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur.
Concur?
Concur on that, Chairman.
Because of these conditions, the application of the ordinance to a particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict use of the property. Mr. Bowling?
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur.
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 Concur as well.
Concur on that one.
The authorization of the variance will not be a substantial detriment to adjacent property or the public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Mr. Bowman? Concur.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur.
Concur.
Concur on that, Mr. Chairman.
The effect of the variance would not allow the establishment of a use not otherwise permitted in the zoning district, would not extend physically a non-conforming use of the land, would not change the zoning district boundaries shown on the official zoning map. Mr. Bowen? Concur.
Concur, Mr. Chairman.
Concur.
Concur on that one.
All right, gentlemen, it's a unanimous on the finding of facts. We will need a motion, and I would like for it to be stated that this is for an open cover over the pad. And if someone's motion, if they would.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve that it's with a open covered awning type over a current existing concrete pad.
And I'll second it.
And Mr. Patrick, second.
Well said, Ty.
Sir? Oh, you got that, Ms. Katie? All right.
Agree. Mr. Chairman, vote in favor.
Vote in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Favor.
I'm in favor of it.
It is unanimous. The variance is granted with the so mentioned approved. And we already have the news that we will have a December meeting. Anything else? The words of wisdom, Miss Katie, for us?
No, sir.
We're hot-headed, said we always approved everything. You left your room.
Yeah.
You spoke up well, Patrick.
Would you like to make one more motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And
I'll
Mr.
second.
Patrick, seconds.
Yes.
And all in favor, rise and depart in peace. Thank you.
Hey, why would that family want 2 more feet?